Hey, what's buddy? Welcome back to News Dose. And of course, we had the Xbox showcase yesterday, and I think in terms of game announcements, they had a strong showcase. I mean, they had a lot of big third-party games like Persona 6. They had Persona 4 Revival. Crazy Taxi was a nice surprise. They had Wo Long 2, and the list goes on and on and on. And then they also had some big first-party reveals for games like Gears of War E-Day, which looks incredible. They had Halo Campaign Evolved. They had Fable, Clockwork Revolution, and even Spyro, which I'm absolutely ecstatic about. Cannot wait to see the return of Spyro. So between Xbox and PlayStation, I do think that Xbox had the stronger overall showcase between the two. But honestly, it's not even necessarily the games themselves that stole the show. It was actually Xbox's decision to divert back to Xbox exclusivity. That's what everybody is talking about right now because yes, Xbox is back. But I do still think there is some messaging that we need to talk about today because there is a lot of confusion about their future plans. But at the same time, a lot more information has come out since yesterday's showcase, so we need to talk all about that today. And then also, we will talk a bit about Nintendo as well because they will complete the trifecta tomorrow. They do have their own showcase, which I'm very, very excited about. First, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for what you do, and you will receive this video through early access. But yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into this. Xbox exclusives are, yes, back. Both Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution were announced as Xbox exclusives, and I've seen a lot of people online that are shocked by this outcome. But you know what? You really shouldn't be. For anybody who thinks Xbox is healthier now with their multi-platform strategy than what they were just a few years back with exclusives has either not been paying attention or they're lying to themselves. I mean, even Asha Sharma herself said that Xbox is not in a healthy state right now, and that is 100% linked to the lack of exclusives, hence this decision. And I keep saying this because every single time it's true. This idea that some people have come up with that exclusives are bad because, they're going to sell less copies without the PS5 is a very narrow-minded way of thinking. You could literally say the exact same thing for the PlayStation 5 exclusives and Nintendo exclusives. They would sell more if they were on more platforms, but they don't, and I think we all know the reason why. See, the thing is that Clockwork Revolution, which is now an Xbox exclusive, could probably, yes, sell more units if it were on the PlayStation 5 as well. But if it was on the PlayStation 5, well, then they would also gain a smaller split per transaction, and on top of that, less people would buy into Xbox, which would then impact their subscriptions, their microtransactions, and third-party games that are also sold on their platform. In other words, multi-platform for a platform holder is a short-term gain at the expense of brand damage, which will hit them even harder when they launch their next generation console. Not only are they going to sell less consoles this generation because of this decision, but it's going to damage their reputation so much that they're going to have a hard time selling their next generation console as well, and that will impact them across the board. It is so much bigger than just a single game selling more units because it's multi-platform. And from what I've seen online, a lot of the people that are even arguing against Xbox exclusives are either bad actors that prefers PlayStation and they just don't want them to have competition, which, by the way, is also incredibly narrow-minded. I mean, seriously, Sony needs more competition because maybe if they did, then they would actually not be as complacent as they've been this past generation. That's food for thought. There is a reason that so many people view the PS360 generation as the best generation, and a lot of that was because the competition between the two has never been higher than what it was with the Xbox 360 versus the PlayStation 3. Sony actually had to work to gain fans that generation, and because they had to, they eventually knocked it out of the park with exclusive after exclusive. They ended that generation at an incredible high, and that's because they had to compete. So really, PlayStation fans should be rooting for Xbox to be more competitive. That in return will also make PlayStation better. However, back on topic, yes, Xbox announced 2 console exclusives, which I think is a great start, but it's only just that. It's a start. If I'm being completely honest with you all, I 100% believe that they should have pulled Halo and Fable off of the PlayStation 5. And I also don't think that Spyro and Senua should be on the PlayStation 5 either. I think those are bad decisions. But to be completely fair, I also realize that this is a new decision for them and this is just the first step. I mean, this change in mindset is completely fresh and it hasn't gone into full effect yet. So I think from this point forward, most, not all, but most single-player games from Xbox will be Xbox exclusive. In fact, Matt Booty, after the showcase, did say that their plan going forward is to launch live service games as multi-platform titles, but single-player games will be exclusive to Xbox on a case-by-case basis. Now, again, I don't like that phrase. I really wish they would just say all single-player games will be exclusive, but that's where they are right now, and they could always adapt even more in the future. My thing about all this, though, is that I really believe they need to commit to this mentality, including with their big games. If they want Xbox Helix, their next generation console, to be a success, not just some niche console, then they need to make games like The Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 exclusive to their next console. Those 2 games alone will attract buyers to their next generation console. And again, there will be people online that complain about that, but most of those people are either bad actors that just don't like Xbox in the first place, or even worse, they're hypocrites because they cheer on exclusives for every other console. I mean, I get so tired of this fake kumbaya mentality. Xbox needs to be aggressive, just like the competition needs to be aggressive themselves. And this is not just a game industry thing. Look at streaming services. People buy into HBO because of shows like Game of Thrones. People buy into Peacock because of things like The Office. People buy into Netflix because of things like Stranger Things. These exclusives differentiate their service, and without those exclusives, they don't have the same identity. This is not a hard concept to understand, and that's why within just a few months' time as Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma did what I said I thought she would come to the conclusion to. She looked into the data, she saw into the future, and she realized in order to have success, they have to sacrifice short-term gains for long-time platform success. And that's where they currently are. Exclusives are back. They are going to have to make a sacrifice and realize that their games might not sell as much, but it is for their future success. And I 100% believe that their exclusive lineup, because of that, will rapidly grow over the next 24 months, especially once their next Xbox launches. I now believe that the next Xbox has a fighting chance to find real success. But again, a lot of that depends on how much they truly commit to this plan. They have to make their big games exclusive to Xbox, but if they do, this plan could truly work out for them. Let me know what you all think about this, though. What do you think about Clockwork Revolution and Gears of War E-Day being the 2 lone exclusives for now? Are you happy about it? And is the promise that more are coming enough for you to be enticed by their next console? Now, as for the showcase itself, I'm going to go and give it a B-. I was originally leaning towards a C because I just don't like their decision not to pull their other games off of the PlayStation 5. But at the end of the day, they did have some really strong reveals here. And plus, with this being a new decision, I also have to understand that their pivot will take some time. Now, if they're still announcing most of their games for the PlayStation 5 next year, then I'm going to be pretty upset, but we'll see how all this plays out. All right, now, we actually have another showcase for tomorrow, though, because, yes, it is the gamers' holiday, and this year especially feels like that true E3 season. You know, back in the day, we used to get Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo showcases within a week's time, and we would always compare and contrast the three. It was just a fun time with a ton of game announcements, and that's what this year has been like, and especially now that Nintendo has a showcase planned for tomorrow on June 9th. It'll air at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and it will be roughly 50 minutes long, so actually a pretty beefy showcase, all things considered. And there are some high expectations for this one specifically, and I think unlike some of their previous showcases, there is a good reason for that optimism this time. I mean, for one, there are some credible leaks that the Zelda Ocarina of Time remake is real, and I mean, if it is, that alone would be a massive announcement. Fans across the world will truly lose their mind if that gets announced. But then they also have games like Fire Emblem Force and Weave and Dustbloods. They are planned for 2026. So I would expect both of those games to make an appearance. And, you know, then after that, they could have a number of surprises as well. I mean, we've been hearing about a Wario Land game here recently, which would definitely be cool. It's also been a long time since we've gotten a new Luigi's Mansion. Again, that would be a big time announcement. And then, of course, the game that's been looming pretty much all year long. Will we finally get a reveal for a new 3D Mario? Now, honestly, I'm not betting on those games being here, but with Zelda, Dustbloods, and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, I think those three games alone would make this a very good showcase. So yeah, I'm definitely excited, and just what a year for gaming. I don't know how many people have realized this yet, but it kind of feels like 2026 is going to be one of those magical years for gamers. There's just been a lot of great games to play, and it also seems like there's a lot of really good games yet to come. It's just been a fun year, and I hope all you are enjoying it as much as I've been. Let me hear from you all, though. Make some predictions for tomorrow's Nintendo Direct. Anyways, though, that's going to be for this episode, but until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.